Your headlights are killing you, slowly. Every night you twist that key and watch that amber glow splash across your garage wall, you are accepting a lie. A comfortable, warm, yellow lie that has wrapped itself around the trucking industry since 1984. You think that hazy halo is normal. You think it is safe. You think that replacing those glass lenses means opening your wallet for $500 or more. You are wrong. Dead wrong. And the correction costs $0. Not $10. Not $1. Absolutely $0. But before you learn why, you need to understand what almost killed a driver outside El Paso on a night in October of 1986. Picture the road, not the highway, the real road. 2 lanes of black asphalt chewing through the desert. No streetlights, no forgiveness. The kind of darkness that swallows high beams whole. This driver, hauling a flatbed through the witching hour, watched his dashboard glow green while his headlights melted into a soup of yellow fog. The bulbs were new. The wiring was perfect, but the glass was aging. Aging like every single headlight from that era ages. Aging into what NASA engineers once called the killer halo. A ring of diffused light that doesn't illuminate. It blinds, it scatters, it turns oncoming traffic into ghosts and turns guardrails into invisible teeth. That driver missed a curve by 3.5 feet. Not because he was tired, not because he was speeding, because his 1984 Kenworth was wearing cataracts, and nobody told him the cure was already sitting in a NASA dumpster. Here's the truth that lighting corporations buried deeper than oil pipelines. To stop astronauts from going blind during spacewalks, NASA developed something in the late 1970s that should have revolutionized every vehicle on Earth. They called it Gradient Nano-Film, a liquid so advanced that when applied to a visor, it could tame the raw nuclear glare of unfiltered sunlight without dimming the stars. It was optical witchcraft. A coating thinner than a human hair that bent light not with darkness, but with mathematics. It didn't block photons, it organized them. And when the space program scaled down in 1981, drums of this liquid were marked for disposal. Industrial waste, expired science. Or so the paperwork claimed. But liquid doesn't read labels. And in the 1980s, waste has a way of walking. Somewhere between Houston and the interstate highways of the American Southwest, a few gallons of this nanofilm disappeared from a classified disposal manifest. Not stolen, not sold. Simply forgotten in a warehouse where Kenworth drivers serviced their rigs. And one afternoon in July 1983, a mechanic named Nobody We Can Mention, because names get lawyers involved, knocked over a jar of clear liquid while cleaning his shop. The jar broke, the puddle spread. And rather than waste good rags, he used the spill to wipe down a set of glass headlights that had turned the color of old piss. He figured he would clean them properly later. He never got the chance, because when that truck rolled out at dusk, something impossible happened. The yellow didn't just fade, it vanished. Not like polishing a lens, not like scrubbing with toothpaste or baking soda, or any of the lies you've seen on video platforms. The light didn't get cleaner, it got smarter. The beam cut through humid air like a scalpel. Where there had been a fuzzy bloom of amber fog, there was now a crisp white tunnel that reached 400 yards into the future. The mechanic stood in that beam, and he felt the heat of old halogen bulbs transformed into something else entirely. A 1984 headlight was outperforming a modern LED array that wouldn't be invented for another 20 years. And the driver reported seeing road signs 2.5 seconds earlier than before. In highway math, that is the difference between a brake pedal and a coffin. Word spread through the truck stops like a grease fire. Not through manuals, not through dealerships, through the language of midnight fuel pumps and shared cigarettes. The $0 miracle, the NASA trick. Drivers were applying this waste material, this discarded space trash, to their aging Kenworth rigs and watching the night turn back into day. No body shop required, no special tools, just the liquid, a cloth, and 12 minutes of patience. The yellow halo that had plagued incandescent bulbs since the invention of the automobile was being canceled out by a film originally designed to protect eyes from solar radiation. It was absurd, it was beautiful, and it was about to disappear. Because you cannot sell $0 worth of improvement for $500. And the lighting industry had a plan. In the boardrooms of the major headlight manufacturers, the calendar read March 3rd, 1992. Sales of sealed beam units were dropping. Trucks were lasting longer. The 1980s fleet refused to die, and that meant nobody was buying new projector assemblies. The industry needed a problem. They needed drivers to feel inadequate. They needed that yellow haze to become not just an annoyance, but a shameful marker of obsolescence. So they invented the projector revolution. They spent $12.5 million on advertising campaigns that told you your old headlights were dangerous, that you needed complex lenses, that you needed computer-aimed beams, that you needed to pay. But here is what they didn't advertise. They knew about the nanofilm. They had acquired the patents for the civilian applications in 1987 through a shell company that no longer exists. They tested it. They confirmed it worked. And then they shelved it. They called it vision armor in the internal memos, and they marked the files with red stamps that meant silence, because vision armor threatened the entire upgrade economy. Why would a driver buy a $400 LED conversion kit when a $0 application of waste chemical made his existing glass superior? Why would a fleet manager order $3,000 worth of new headlight assemblies when the old ones could be restored to better than factory condition with a sponge?
They couldn't allow it. So they bought the remaining stock of nanofilm. They incinerated the drums. They sent letters to the truck stops threatening lawsuits for distributing unregulated chemicals. And slowly, the knowledge became myth. A story told by old-timers who swore they once saw a Kenworth with beams like lighthouse towers. A legend of the 1980s that nobody could prove.
Until now. The science is real. The physics is undeniable. When you apply Gradient Nano-Film to aged glass headlight lenses, you are not cleaning them. You are reprogramming them. The film fills the microscopic pits and yellow oxidation with a gradient index material that actually bends light more efficiently than the original glass. It creates a negative dispersion effect. The wavelengths that scatter, the ones that create that dangerous halo, get redirected into the main beam. It is like turning a foggy window into a magnifying glass. The light doesn't just look brighter, it travels farther. It cuts through rain. It eliminates the glare that blinds oncoming traffic. And it does this permanently. Not a wax that washes off, not a polish that fades in 6 months. A molecular bond that lasts as long as the glass itself. You are wondering where to find this liquid. Here is the second secret. You don't need to find it. You need to find what it became. When NASA disposed of the original formula, they didn't destroy the byproducts. They sold them as industrial sealants, as anti-static coatings for museum glass, as protective layers for satellite solar panels. And one specific byproduct, a clear hydrophobic solution sold in bulk for waterproofing electronics, contains the exact same nanoparticles in the exact same suspension. It sells for $0 per ounce because it is classified as waste solvent. It sits in drums behind electroplating shops. It is the rinse water from certain circuit board manufacturers. It is the stuff they pay to have hauled away. But chemistry doesn't care about price tags. A molecule of titanium dioxide and carbon nanotubes doesn't know if it came from a space helmet or a dumpster. It just knows how to tame light. So here is your path. Tonight, this week, before your next night drive, you locate this waste stream. You collect half a pint. You clean your 1984 Kenworth headlights with simple alcohol first. Not because the film requires it, but because you must remove the grease of the road. Then, in a dark garage, you apply the liquid with a microfiber cloth in circular motions. You will see the yellow vanish in real time. Not gradually, immediately. The glass will turn optically clear, clearer than when it left the factory in 1984. Then you let it cure for 48 hours in dry air. You do not touch it. You do not buff it. You let the nanoparticles align themselves into the gradient lattice that NASA designed for the vacuum of space. When you flip those beams on the second night, you will witness a crime scene. The crime is how much light has been stolen from you. Your low beams will punch like high beams. Your high beams will reach 600 yards, cutting through the dark like the shuttle through atmosphere. And the oncoming drivers won't flash you. They won't curse you, because there is no scatter. No halo, just pure organized photons doing exactly what they were meant to do. Illuminate, reveal, protect. The corporations sold you projector headlights. They sold you HID kits. They sold you LED strips that cost $300 and failed in 18 months. They sold you complexity because simplicity doesn't generate quarterly profits. They buried vision armor because it was too good, too cheap, too permanent. It solved the problem absolutely. And solved problems don't need replacements. Your 1984 Kenworth is not obsolete. Its headlights are not weak. They are merely waiting for the application of a truth that has been hidden for 40 years. The yellow halo is not aging. It is a curtain. And behind that curtain lies the night as it really is. Clear, navigable, safe. You have a choice. You can keep driving through the amber fog, squinting at road signs, guessing at the shoulders, accepting that modern trucks have better eyes than yours. Or you can reach back into 1983, into that spilled jar in a forgotten garage, and claim the $0 upgrade that changes everything. No body shop, no special orders, no permission, just physics, and the refusal to be scammed by an industry that profits from your darkness.
The liquid is out there. The method is proven. The night is waiting. And your headlights, those supposedly dying beams, are about to wake up.